Hey, Lee here with the pull list for November 7th, 2012, presented by longboxradio.com. As you may or may not be able to tell, I have laryngitis starting all the way back at last pull list. It's been doing this to me. So I got a big old Iron Man head full of chai tea, and I will make it through this pull list whether it kills me or not. So, scalding hot. This week we have from DC Comics, Action Comics number 14. And before I actually go anywhere, we had our local Comic-Con here last weekend, so nothing invigorates you to go through a bunch of comics and read them and just, steep yourself in that universe than a Comic-Con, I find. So I read a lot of my back issues, so I'm good to go with Marvel now and stuff like that. Superman DC, George Perez was there, so I started reading a bunch of old DC stuff that he worked on. We'll get to that a little bit later. But anyways, Action Comics, here we are. Grant Morrison, Rags Morales, issue 14. We have Superman versus Angels. Why not? We have Earth 2 coming to us from James Robinson and Nicola Scott, and Trevor Scott as well. Been a pretty cool book. Really like the art. Writing's been good. Been moving at a pretty good clip. So I like this book. I like Earth 2 and the way the stories have been kind of moving way better than Justice League. Even though they are introducing like 4 or 5 characters in the first couple issues, the pacing's just a lot better. I feel. Fairest, I've actually already read this particular issue this week. This is number 9. Another great Adam Hughes cover there, of course. We have Rapunzel there making out and getting her lesbian action on. Really cool book. This particular story arc has to do with Rapunzel. She goes over to Tokyo. We get to see the Japanese Fable Town, which is super, super cool. A lot of cool characters. Been a super cool book. If you like Fables or you kind of know about Fables, but the fact that it's at issue 115 is a little intimidating to you, Ferris is a good place to kind of get into that world. So really, really like that book. Supergirl, this is actually from a couple weeks ago, I believe. Got back into Supergirl, started reading some retro stuff, and want to keep reading the new book now, and I'll show you why later. Swamp Thing is coming to us from Scott Snyder and Yannick Paquette. I want to drop this book, but every time I'm about to, they got the old creative team kicking on there. So love Yannick Paquette's art. Scott Snyder's been killing it on this book. I like Swamp Thing. Some of them are a little faster reads. I know I've blown through a couple of them in like 2 minutes, but still some cool stuff. Excuse me a moment. You have to bear with me here. There we go. Nancy in Hell on Earth. This is number 4 coming to us from Image Comics. This is the last issue of this. Super cool Grindhouse-esque cover there. All the covers have been like that, actually. Really cool book. This is like the second volume of the Nancy in Hell series. Really, really cool. It's exactly what it looks like. You got a chick in Daisy Dukes falling out of her top, killing all kinds of demons and stuff. So, if that's up your alley, you'd probably like Nancy in Hell. The Avengers End Times. This is, I believe, the second last Bendis Avengers book. The last one has Thor on it, I think. This is number 33. A little bit of a spoiler. The Wasp is back. Janet is back. She was never dead. She just got really, really tiny. Yeah. Never thought to go looking for her. Hey, Hank, your only thing you do is getting tiny and going into microverses. Never thought to look for her there. Anyways, speaking of final issues, Avengers Academy, this is from Christos Gage. This is the last issue, issue 39. 39, good round number to end something on. So that's it, right there. I've followed that series and had it on my pull list since it started. It's had its ups and downs, but on the whole, I have enjoyed it. That's 39 issues at $4 a pop, so you do the math. Daredevil, End of Days. I didn't know what this was the first time I picked it up. Having read it now, I'm in, man. This is awesome. Bendis, I believe it's David Mack on the art. Alex Maleev's doing the top, and basically it's I believe not in continuity, but if you like Bendis Daredevil, this would be a nice end to Daredevil. Not completely ignoring the whole Shadowland thing. So really, really cool. Like this book. It's an 8 issue. So pick up the trade paperback. Make sure you read that book. The Defenders, another last issue from Mad for Action. There it is. What is there to say about this book? It's stellar art, covers, and interiors. The entire run. It's 12 issues. Maybe they'll release it in a hardcover with all of them or something like that. But highly recommend you pick up the book. It's got a really wacky team on it. I really, really enjoyed this book. And hopefully we get something else like this from Matt Fraction or whoever involved. So, new book coming to us from Kieran Gillen. Sorry if I got that name wrong. I believe it's the gentleman who did Phonogram, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize again. But this is Iron Man number 1. Clearly have all my facts in order there. So, Marvel Now, Iron Man 1. Invincible Iron Man finished. I just finished reading it. Kind of a, for something that had such great highs as Most Wanted, the Most Wanted arc, Disassembled and all that, kind of ended on a whimper. I don't know. The Armor Wars 3 thing, I wasn't a huge fan of, but did like that book. Mad for Action, you did good on Iron Man, and we'll see where Marvel Now takes us. Another second last issue for Bendis. This is the New Avengers End Times. Got Spider-Man all tied up on the front there, and that's wrapping up as well, going into Marvel Now. So cool stuff. That's all I gotta say. Comic-Con was pretty cool. We got, a good mix of stuff. Usually our Comic-Con, we don't get a lot of artists, or we don't get any writers. We do get artists, though. And like I said, George Perez was there, and that was, one second, really cool. I managed to track down all 12 issues of Crisis on Infinite Earths, got him to sign them all. He's the friendliest dude. If you ever have him at a con, and you've been into comics like me, you might be intimidated by such a... Stand next to him for a couple minutes. He will address you. He'll be like, "Hey, what's up? What you want? What's going on?" The coolest guy. Got a couple commissions from him. $40, and for $40, this is what you get from George Perez. I got a Power Girl right there. That's the original costume, of course. I asked him what he thought about the new costume. He wasn't a fan. I also got classic Supergirl there with the headband and everything. So really cool. He told us a lot of cool stories. About his time in the industry and how he can possibly draw that many characters in something like Crisis on Infinite Earths and the further things he drew, where he's got like thousands of characters showing up. It's insane. He's a really cool guy. I recommend if you can get out to see him, definitely do. He's one of the greats, man. I mean, he's been around the comic books for 35, 40 years now, and he's one of the guys who grew up with like the golden age of comics and decided that's what he wanted to do. And this guy has a lot stored up in that head of his. So that's all. I can't say more good stuff about George Perez. Who else was there? Mark Teixeira, pronouncing it wrong. He was there. He was doing commissions. Really cool guy. Other than that, some old back issues and stuff I picked up, but that's it. We'll talk more about it on a podcast if we can get one going. Hopefully my laryngitis will leave me so I can talk to you fine folks. That was a good pull, so I feel good about that one. Anyways, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Get ready for Marvel Now, because it's right around the corner.